Hello everyone and welcome to 2021. May the new year be happy and may it go as planned. For the NNPC and its leading responsibility to galvanize the industry and keep things stable, the mixed bag of operation is to entrench the gains of the past year, cardinal of which is the resolve of 30% cost from all contracts and adopt gas as energy for the future. There is also the lessons learned from engaging the pandemic, survival strategies and ingenuities about the crude oil demand contraction, palliatives, health, medical and oil and gas infrastructure, refineries and refining, etc., etc. And of course, transparency, accountability and performance excellence tape, which is very dear to the heart of GMD Mele Kyari and by his drive, dear to the heart of the National Oil Company. Let's join Malam Mele Kyari reflecting about these and other issues in addition to happenings in the other regular segments of the program. I'm Akin Agbejile. This is Oil and Gas Forum.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Mele Kyari, and the entire staff wish Nigerians and the various stakeholders in the oil and gas industry a Merry Christmas. As petroleum products supplier of last resort, the NNPC wishes to assure you of adequate petroleum product supply to meet all your energy demands in the Yuletide and beyond. The NNPC holds a robust stock of premium motor spirit, PMS, dual-purpose kerosene, DPK, automotive gas oil, AGO, and aviation turbine kerosene, ATK, in her various strategic depots. The Nigeria State Oil Company advises all players in the oil and gas industry value chain and motorists alike to play according to the rules of the game and not to indulge in any sharp practice that will disrupt the seamless flow of petroleum products to various end users. NNPC wishes you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
In its avowed commitment to reduce the cost of its operations, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has revealed that it reached an agreement with all its contractors to review downward all contract costs by 30%, noting that the strategy enabled the corporation to reduce its losses to an all-time low in 2020. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, made this disclosure in an interview with Voice of Nigeria VOA in Abuja, while reflecting on some of the strategies in place by the corporation to survive the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Malam Kyari stated that the management of the NNPC has also put in place measures to reduce the unit cost of crude oil production to $10 from its current average cost of $35 per barrel, stressing that for the oil and gas industry to survive the contraction of crude oil demand, there was need for the production cost to be brought down through efficiency.
When COVID-19 came, it practically accelerated that process by cutting down consumption to much lower levels in March, and into April we were actually in trouble. Production of oil has come down to the barest minimum because there is no longer any place to keep them because all storages were full. The markets have reacted adversely. Crude oil was selling at less than $10 to the barrel. In fact, in some instances, some traders in some countries were actually paid to lift oil. So it was a disaster for the oil and gas industry in the sense that revenues were lost, investment could no longer progress, and therefore it has a very obvious impact on our own country. In this country, we sold oil at close to $9 to the barrel when we're actually producing at sometimes at over $35 to the barrel. Obviously, you are selling at loss, and that also means some reduction in expectations of government and the institutions of government from the revenues that will come from oil and gas. As a country, it did have very colossal effect on our revenue stream but it also created opportunities. And we saw things that change. And that's where we come in. We know that our environment is one of the very highest cost per barrel environment in the world. We have taken some initiatives to make sure that we bring down that cost to at least or maximum of $10 to the barrel. Once you do this, you become competitive for two reasons. One is that because you are producing cheap oil, the market will recognize that, and then there will be margin on top of the production cost that you have put in place.
He noted that Nigeria, just like every other economy across the world, was hit by COVID-19, but it became a blessing to Nigeria as it provided an opportunity for the oil and gas industry to focus more on gas, which is the energy of the future, maintaining that the impact of COVID-19 on gas was quite minimal compared to the liquids.
Across the globe, as the COVID-19 was ravaging, one stream that was not that deeply impacted was the gas stream across the globe, both in terms of LNG and LPG supplies to the global market. Even for our company, the biggest revenue source that we saw that didn't contract so significantly is the gas revenues that we saw. And we also knew very well ahead of COVID-19 that we need to refocus on gas. This government has made it a matter of principle and a matter of priority to ensure that we deepen domestic gas supply and consumption. A number of projects were ongoing even before COVID-19 came, and all aim at making sure that we deepen domestic gas consumption, increase supply into the market.
The NNPC helmsman averred that in preparation for the energy transition, the NNPC and its partners are deliberately expanding the gas infrastructure backbone, which would enable the nation's economy to prosper in the years ahead.
For instance, the AKK pipeline, which is supposed to extend the gas pipeline from Ajaokuta all the way through Kaduna, through Abuja, we're able to push that project forward, get all the necessary conditions precedents, including finding financing for it, the drive to make sure that it is deployed, and then getting the right contractors to move on site. And we're able to get Mr. President to launch that project even at the peak of the COVID-19 in July. And that project has not stopped for a moment, for a day. It's continuing. We are going to deliver it. And in addition to that, there are a number of other infrastructure. It's very important to understand the infrastructure component of it before you come to the drive. The OBOB3 pipeline is supposed to deliver gas both into the AKK line and also into the lines leading to Lagos. They are all connected. So until you are able to deliver the OB3 line, you are not able to do this. And that also has been hanging for a long time. We are also able to deliver a bypass into it today. Today, gas has flown into that line and is running. We are going to commission this very soon. But more importantly, there's what we call the OBOB3 gas river crossing. That's a pipeline that is supposed to cross the River Niger to join the OB3 network. As you are doing this, you need to have a transition process, which is delivering LPG and CNG into homes, into factories, and into cars, the Autogas project. And this is also running perfectly well. There are a number of initiatives that are ongoing. There are a number of take-up points that we have established. We're engaging a number of critical partners to make sure that we're able to deliver CNG on trucks into certain key locations so that we have a virtual pipeline in place as we also progress with the pipeline network activity. The combination of this is will deliver gas into the domestic market. Even as we speak now, utilization has gone to a level that we never expected because of the number of initiatives that are running.
On the recently inaugurated Oredo Integrated Gas Handling Facility, IGHF, Malam Kyari has this to say on how the project would impact the economy.
And specific to the gas project that we commissioned, it's actually a contributory project. Just one project of many that we are trying to do. It is a major project because it will deliver about 240,000 tons of LPG into the domestic market, second to the NLNG, and also to deliver at least 100 million scope of gas into the pipeline network. So there are a number of such initiatives the NNPC is driving with our partners, and we have also seen significant interest from private players, including our partner companies, to make sure that we deliver gas into domestic market.
On how the nation survived the crude oil demand contraction and the prospects for 2021, hear what Malam Kyari has to say.
We're able to produce 2.49 million barrels of oil per day. That means the capacity to produce exists up to 2.5 million barrels per day. There's a line of sight around producing up to 3 million barrels per day within the next 1 to 2 years. So that is very possible. But when you produce oil, you must sell it. And then when you sell it, you must recover your costs. By providence also, we have one of the sweetest oil in the world. So no matter how people look at it, therefore abandoning Nigeria's production or kind of oil is still long years away. Very, very unlikely that there will be clear substitute for that in the short term. So we know that the market will need our oil, but we are not the only producers of light sweet crude. The United States is one of them. There are a number of other jurisdictions where light sweet crude is produced. So we have to be competitive in costs.
The NNPC man confirmed that Premium Motor Spirit PMS has been fully deregulated, stressing that there was no provision for petrol subsidy in the 2021 budget that has been passed by the National Assembly.
I think we are fully deregulated today. The regulation means, government does not pay any subsidy on the cost of petroleum or any other commodity. So this market is completely deregulated. It means that people can go to the market, buy the product, come into our markets and sell, or even buy from NNPC and sell to the market, and then recover their cost and then a reasonable margin. The reality is that this is a transition situation. As we speak now, there's no provision for subsidy for even a naira in the 2020 Appropriation Act. There's not a single naira provision in the approved 2021 budget. So as far as institutions of government are concerned, as far as the markets are concerned, this market is fully deregulated. It's getting it to work. It's a different story. As you may be aware, today only NNPC imports petroleum product into this country for a very simple reason that the oil marketing companies are unable to do it. They couldn't do it because access to foreign exchange has become a challenge, which we are also resolving with the Central Bank of Nigeria. And that framework will be in place very soon. And once that is put in place, of course, the NNPC's monopoly of the importer of last resort will vanish, and therefore the markets will react to it. I'm sure you have seen what is happening in the diesel market. The market has regulated itself. Today, if you decide to sell at 300 naira to the liter, nobody will buy from you. And you see between two fuel stations, difference of 3 to 4, 5 naira, you see people are opting to go and buy from the cheaper of the market. Even as we speak today in the PMS market, people go to NNPC as the first point of call because we're a public company. We are not there to exploit anyone. We are there to represent the ordinary people. Our shareholders are the people you see in the street. And therefore, our margins are curtailed completely to the limits that are realistic. And that way, you can see the huge difference between our prices and those other stations. Yet, we are not losing money. We are not subsidizing a couple of the sales that we do in our fuel station. We know that as the NNPC volumes increase in the market, in the retail business, others will come down to our level. And that you must have seen in very many fuels. Even among fueling stations, you will see that there are difference of 1 to 2 naira between them.
On the efforts to ramp up the nation's refining capacity, Malam Kyari has this comforting view.
Once the Dangote refinery comes off, you may be aware that refinery is 650,000 barrels per day capacity. Not only that, it's a very complex and a sophisticated refinery. It can convert up to 50 million liters of PMS per day. So once this synergy is achieved between the private sector, NNPC, and then putting back our refinery on stream, we would have seen in the next 2, maximum 3 years, this country will become a next exporter of PMS. But certainly is not going to come from NNPC's only investment because it was simply a technical impossibility because of the capacities. And that takes us to deliberate management decision. We decided to shut down the refineries and then to work on them.
He informed that the petroleum industry bill, when passed, will enable the NNPC to become fully commercialized.
The petroleum industry bill, that's before the National Assembly, surely said that NNPC will be the NNPC Limited. That means it will be a company limited, the Company and Allied Matters Act. So you cannot place policy responsibility on a company that is registered under the Companies and Allied Matters. And that would clearly solve the entire problem of a conflict between NNPC's role as a commercial entity and as a business of government. As you may be aware, over time, government may consider even taking out some of the equity it has in the NNPC as a business. So overall, you're going to deal with a completely private company that is driven by returning value to shareholders and not policies.
On how the nation's oil and gas industry would fare with the introduction of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, the GMD has this to say.
We want to see it as an opportunity as a country. If we're able to produce enough petroleum in our country, both in terms of the finished and the crude product, and then you have a market for it within the African subcontinent, including the landlocked countries. and then you have a very formal basis for that relationship, because the key thing we lack today is the formal basis of the relationship. And once you put up the formal basis of the relationship, then transaction will become in foreign exchange, and therefore those risks that is associated today with putting too much pressure on our foreign exchange will vanish. So we're working on 2 fronts. One is to see what's the limits that we can put on this trans-border movement of petroleum product, and then secondly, how can we take it, convert it into an advantage, an opportunity. And that opportunity is what we're already testing with the Niger Republic, to see how do we connect so that that transaction become formal between countries, so that that exchange of product, will become on the platform of the banks, and therefore those FX issues will vanish. And obviously they don't have to. If we can produce petroleum here and deliver to our neighbors and other West African countries, they will have no need going to Europe to buy. After all, they will still pay for it in the foreign exchange. So once those transactions are formalized, for us, we don't see any cross-border issues as a problem. We took deliberate steps to be more open and accountable to our shareholders. We publish our audited financial statement for 2018, 2019 on time for 2019, and also we'll do for 2020, and obviously within the time frame allowed by the law. That exposed a lot of things, even to us. Nobody sits down to look at the financial statement when you are not faced with any form of scrutiny. And that scrutiny was very useful to us. We saw the wrong things that we have done. We have corrected most of them. We're making progress on the rest of them. And then that is kind of giving us the confidence that we're accountable to our shareholders, and they appreciate this. And we have seen this in their reactions to many of the things that we do.
The GMD has this new year message for Nigerians.
This country is a great country. I know that the future is great. This company is their company. This company will work for them. We're there to work for the Nigerian people. Our shareholder will recognize this. We'll continue to work being accountable to the Nigerian people and being transparent to them. And that is also coming from the bottom of the heart of all management staff of NNPC and all the staff. They share this, they believe this, that we're working for the Nigerian people. We're not there to reward ourselves. We're there to work for the Nigerian people. In the process, the Nigerian people reward us by giving us a job. And we're doing our utmost to deliver on this job. But lastly, I'm putting my trust in God, that God will help all of us.
Good evening, my name is Abigail Ojogo, and thank you for joining us on the feedback segment of the program. The federal government's Gas to Power initiative to increase domestic gas production and utilization received a major boost with the presidential commissioning of the Integrated Gas Handling Facility (IGHF) and liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) storage and dispensing units in Ologbo community, Ikpoba Oka local government area of Edo State. We bring you views, comments and reactions on how the project is going to impact the economy.
I mean, anyone who is experiencing this can only be happy. For a project like this to be in this community, it's a blessing to the community and to the people. And as a matter of fact, to the people of Edo State in general.
But when we dey see like this now, as the children go get work, mother and father will be happy to see them, so that we don't take care of the children finish. At the old age now, the children is good to take care of us.
We come for joy, we come for happiness. As they say they want to come here now, we still happy about it.
We are actually happy to see this type of development in our quarter, and we hope that it will continue to improve more and more, so that at the end of it all people in the community will benefit from it.
For this project is a laudable project. I thank the federal government and I thank my Enogie for the peace he has been trying to establish in this community. If not for peace, this project wouldn't have been successful.
If you cannot welcome it, you just not happy for a good thing. As far as here, and this is the first one.
And so far for what we have saw, we are grateful, because there's so many things that is coming to this community.
and that Edo State as a whole, and it will benefit the whole Nigeria. You're talking about jobs. Those are one of the things that keep the community going.
The NNPC NPDC Integrated Gas Handling Facility, IGHF, and Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Storage and Dispensing Plant will boost domestic gas utilization, improve energy supply to the nation, and create more job opportunities for Nigerians. That's the much time will permit. Please stick around for the other segments of the program. Hello, glad to have you join us on this segment. My name is Faith Ayuba. Did you know that autogas is the common name for liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, when it is used as a fuel in internal combustion engines? Did you know that it is a mixture of propane and butane, and it is widely used as a green fuel? Did you also know that autogas reduces carbon dioxide exhaust emissions by around 15% compared to petrol? Similarly, petrol engines are suitable for LPG conversion, with consumers enjoying cost reduction and environmental benefits. Did you know that the federal government plans a 40% fuel switch to autogas in 10 years? Now you know. Keep watching. The program continues with Global Crude Oil Outlook.
Welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil gained ground as a United States coronavirus fiscal aid package and a decline in crude oil inventories lifted prices. Brent crude futures rose 35 cents or 0.7% to $51.44 per barrel. And the United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude added 30 cents or 0.6% to $48.30 per barrel. Meanwhile, the Market Intelligence Department of NNPC's London office reported that oil prices could gain more strength as vaccination programs around the world begin next year, allowing countries to relax restrictions on movement and business activities. U.S. physical crude oil grade strengthened as the American Petroleum Institute API reported a decline in stockpiles, dealers said. A new variant of the virus in the United Kingdom has led to the reimposition of movement restrictions, hitting near-term demand and weighing on prices, while hospitalizations and infections have surged in parts of Europe and Africa. Fossil fuel demand in coming years could remain softer, even after the pandemic, as countries seek to limit emissions to slow climate change. Major oil companies such as BP plc and Total SE published forecasts that include scenarios where global oil demand may have peaked in 2019. A January 4 meeting of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and allies, including Russia, a group known as OPEC Plus, also looms over the market. That's Global Crude Oil Outlook. That's the program, our first outing in 2021. Thanks for being there. On behalf of NNPC, have a jolly good year, and the promise from the National Oil Company is to keep touching Nigerians' lives in many positive ways. Keep the date next week.